All right. Welcome to the Ask the Expert series. I'm Robert Arthur here in my mobile office, which is a blessing. We can do this business and bless lives from anywhere on the planet. So we want to welcome everybody. And this is the first Ask the Expert with Miss Kirsty. Feel free to catch the other two. We've done a couple of really fun Ask the Expert sessions with none other than a big brother from another mother, Jim Rhodes. Who else loves Jim? He is a true blessing for so many of us. Yes, thank you, Allison. In the future, we'll be hearing from Dr. Messina, Dr. Harper, and hope Dr. Beth, and some fun peeps that some are on Kirsty's lab team on the Zalevo lab, some are field leaders. They all are experts in their field. And Kirsty, my goodness, decades now around wellness at a high level. She's done literally thousands of interviews. She was formerly with a billion-dollar company, director of labs. I could go on. I'll just stop there. She is instrumental, and some of the original mastermind, along with her team, obviously, of the formulations that we have, these true world-class formulations. So welcome, Miss Kirsty.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Well, we're great. We're great that you're here. We're honored that you're here. So, all right. So we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun, Miss Kirsty. So I have some questions that the field has submitted, and we're gonna run some of these by you. And I feel like I'm back in my home state in Louisiana. Speaking of bayous, that's a different bayou, though. Okay, let's go with it. So from Scott Lucas, I think his better half is on the line with us, Deb. So here we go. Are you ready, Miss Kirsty?
I'm ready. I feel like I'm on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I do.
I might need a lifeline.
Here we go. From Scott, can you speak of, I know we've asked the question before, but it'll keep coming up. Let's go ahead and address it. Can you speak of the benefits with our formulations around, first of all, around gout, and then also diabetes? And obviously you can help us be compliant here. So.
Whoa, that's two loaded questions. Gout is one thing, diabetes is the other. When it comes to gout, this is an issue of a specific type of acid that can build up in the tissues, and it is an exceptionally painful condition. These individuals that have been diagnosed with gout, they do have to be very conscientious of their diet. They have to be very aware of what they're eating, and what their lifestyle consists of that would lend to the body being able to efficiently break down some of these acids that build up into the tissues. And when the acids form in the tissue, they build like little glass shards, and that's what is really painful within the tissues. So obviously with movement, those glass shards, move as well, and that's what causes the extreme pain in the tissue. I'm not a super well-versed person on gout, but the bottom line is managing quality proteins is very critical. Also making time for intermittent fasting, extensive fasting, so that their body can move into a beautiful state of autophagy, a massive cleanup in the body and resetting in the body, and really helping to kind of hone in all of the metabolic processes so that the body can handle more and can metabolize better and can upregulate, so to speak. So, is Zalevo a perfect option for them to intertwine into their daily lifestyles? Yes. But first and foremost, I would say that they really need to take a look at what their doctor's recommendations are when it comes to dietary restrictions and dietary needs. And also to run Zalevo past the doc and just say, doctor, this is what I would love to move through. And will you monitor me? Will you watch my progress? And let's work on this together. So In essence, it's about doctor supervision, especially if they're on specific types of medications as well. That's always recommended, because let me just tell you, when you put good things into the body responds. And if you put bad things into the body responds. And so you can expect shifts and changes in the body, whether it's good habits or bad habits. So when you are working with a healthcare professional and it involves any kind of diagnosis or medications that you're consuming, to be able to run those things past your doctor so that he or she has good visibility to what you're doing, just leads to a better outcome. So hopefully that helps.
Yes, thank you for that answer. And for so many of these answers, remember, as you said so many times, we do not treat, diagnose, prescribe, or cure anything. We simply give the body what it needs to be, the miracle
right.
it's designed to be. So great answer there. And the other, we've done how many calls have you, this next question, that part two of this first question, guys, there's so many calls. Kirsty's done, Jim has done on what's called insulin resistance, etc. So just in a succinct form, and you can direct us to other resources if you'd like. Again, the other question was around the whole insulin resistance, blood sugar journey that a lot of people are on, Kirsty.
Yeah. It's so interesting because diabetes has been around for a long time.
I don't want to do anything.
But do we want to mute Elaine's line?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. It's been around for a really long time, but in the modern world that we live in, it's statistically a giant when it comes to diagnosis and a health challenge. A lot of the way in which we live in this day and age, it really lends itself to diabetes. And really what diabetes is, there's a few different types. There's type 1, which has to do with the pancreas just shutting down altogether, or slowing down the insulin production, so that you literally don't have the insulin that you need to take care and to drive blood glucose from the blood into your tissues and into your cells, for your cells to be able to utilize as energy. And let's back up just a second more. The pancreas is this marvelous organ. And if you have challenges with pancreatic issues, or even pancreatic cancer, without your pancreas, you die. There's no life beyond zero pancreas in the body. And so it used to be that if you were diagnosed with pancreatic cancer or pancreatic issues, once it fizzles out, only medicine can do so much, and therefore your end is near. My uncle, my mother's brother, he died of pancreatic cancer, and he died about 3 years prior to them doing the first pancreatic transplant. And now they're doing transplants successfully, which is an advance in modern medicine. But going back to that beautiful organ that secretes chemicals known as hormones, insulin, it is so vital. Insulin is the master hormone of the body. You hear glutathione, you hear all these other hormones that are excreted from other glands, but the bottom line is without insulin, there's no life. You can live without other hormones being secreted, whether it's the bad quality, not so good quality, whatever of life, but insulin is very important. So going back to type 1 diabetes, it's the damaging of the islet cells within the pancreas itself that prohibits insulin from being produced. And again, without insulin flooding into the bloodstream that's being triggered through eating and through carbohydrate consumption, to be able to drive those carbs or that blood glucose out of the blood into the tissues, you are in a pretty bad state, and blood sugar can climb without that insulin present, and being ratioed out based on your carbohydrates and your carbohydrate loading. So when the islet cells are damaged like that, and you have little to no production of insulin, you're type 1 diabetic. You're considered type 1 diabetic, and it's not necessarily pinpointed to lifestyle. But if it is lifestyle induced, for instance, someone that's obese, someone that's been flooding, a good amount of carbohydrates or causing a lot of insulin spiking in the body, which then leads to insulin resistance, and then eventually prediabetes and then diabetes, type 2 diabetes diagnosis, that's more lifestyle. And And it's a slow but sure metabolic dysfunction is what it is. It's where the body, the pancreas, is producing the insulin, but for some reason that insulin isn't able to do its job by escorting this blood glucose out of the blood into the cell, and the cells are resistant to receiving the fuels. It's resistant to the functionality of the insulin itself. And that resistance then causes some pretty significant issues in the body. Your blood sugar can climb, and in order to kind of overcompensate, then you're flooding the body in with even more insulin that's taken orally or an injection in the body to overcompensate, which is, it kind of forces the situation and forces the glucose out of the blood into the muscle or into the cells. But going back to this insulin resistance, man, it is wreaking havoc. It will rob you of your circulatory health. It will rob you of your vascular and cardiovascular health. It will rob you of your cognitive health and your ability to be able to think clearly and focus and concentrate and have really good memory recall. It will rob you of lean mass development. It will rob you of your eyesight. The list goes on, and people that are diabetic that leave it unmanaged, those are the individuals that end up with amputations. They end up going blind because the optic nerves and your brain, everything is so sensitive to that blood sugar level. And a good visual to remember is that if blood sugar goes up and insulin can't drive that blood sugar out of the blood, and you have high blood sugar floating around in your entire vascular piping, look at that blood sugar as shards of glass, much like the gout with the acids, but that blood sugar is like shards of glass. And what it does is over time is it starts to etch and cut into your vascularity. It etches into those capillaries, blood vessels, arteries, the main aorta. And when you etch the inside of these blood vessels, scarring takes place, and slowly but surely these vessels and capillaries start to shrink due to the etching effect of blood sugar. And so that through that scarring and shrinking process, that's why circulation starts to diminish in your fingers, toes, hands, feet, leading eventually to amputations. So it's a pretty serious condition. Just be very aware. In a lot of cases, if you're just recently diagnosed with some form of insulin resistance, whether it's pre-diabetes or full-on type 2 diabetes, if you're just into it, through diet and careful watch and consistency on a daily basis, you can start to help the body to reverse that back. And you need to work with your healthcare professional on this, because in most cases, when you're insulin resistance, pre-diabetic or diabetic, full-on type 2 diabetic, chances are you're taking some sort of oral insulin or an injectable. And if you're doing administration of insulin, and let's say you start a healthy lifestyle where you're incorporating Zalevo and your blood sugar starts to kind of balance and you start battling that insulin resistance effect in the body, well, then you don't want to over insulin yourself. So be careful that if there's medications involved, that you work with your healthcare provider to be able to make those adjustments as you're moving through your health journey. And to test daily. A lot of times they've got these new ports here, and you can just literally lay your phone up to it and boom, it tells you instantaneously. You open up the app, lay your phone to it, and it's an instantaneous blood check signal. You can see if your blood sugar is 89, if it's 109, if it's 275, and you can monitor your blood sugar better than ever before. So the chances of really managing and beating metabolic issues when it comes to insulin resistance is far greater than ever before. You just have to be dialed in and diligent with your daily regime.
Wow, that was a lot there, and I love your visual, because you were able to give us a more simple picture of what is occurring and why those things atrophy and deplenish. So thank you for that, Kiersey. And again, I would direct people, there are other calls we've done more in depth as well. So thank you. So from Kathy Zahn, who y'all love, she's awesome. Kathy Z, she's heard that burning, and for those who are new to this, we call it burning, is like it's a fasting mode using primarily one of our formulations called burn mode. I've heard that burning, or intermittent fasting, autophagy fasting, 3 times a month is okay. I've also heard to do it only twice a month. it's a pretty straightforward question. So what is the safe and most effective way to do our fasting and burn days?
The rule of thumb is to listen to your body.
Wow.
That is the rule of thumb. And to also understand that your body is a machine. And just like your car driving down the road, you need specific fuels that are going into your car in order to make those road trips and to get to and from point A and point B, back again, so on. It's, daily activities. Your body is constantly breaking things down, utilizing them for cell function, cell health, and to create energy within the body so that your factory and your machine is working at an efficient pace. The second that you shut your fuels down, which is going to be your eating, then your body then can go into some really unique phases, one of them being autophagy, which is this incredible cell cleanup. Again, it's where the body goes after and scavenges after dysfunctional cells, literally devouring those cells. It's called apoptosis. It's where it just targets and breaks it down. Some of that cell material and matter can be used to shuttle into new cell creation, new cell generation. Those components that cannot be used, your body then shuffles out through the liver, dumps it into the colon or out through your urine, and you eliminate it because the body can't use those materials anymore. It is a massive reset and a massive cleanup in the body. And so obviously, in order to access autophagy, it doesn't happen on its own. You have to clear that space in your schedule and in your lifestyle and make those windows of opportunity to fast to then ignite the autophagy to have that good cell cleanup, that deep reset. Going back to how many times that you should do it, you got to do it. If your concern and your desire is longevity and ultimate health and well-being, and to live and navigate this earth for as long as you can humanly possibly, right, is you gotta take care of yourself and incorporate that in. The more experienced you become with fasting, the more that you can probably do it for more prolonged periods of time, meaning maybe beyond 48 hours, maybe it's 60 hours, maybe you can fast 75 hours. It's really about how long you can press your body, but know that on the other side of your fast, you've got to recover and put the good stuff in. And that's where the Ultra 30 comes in. That should be the first thing that enters into the digestive system that then floods out into the body, where it's almost kind of like, the best visual that I love to give on this is that when you stop and fast, things kind of calm down, that your body slips into this state of regeneration, resetting, breaking down bad cells and creating new ones, healthy cells. But it's almost kind of like a desert that's dry, that's at the end of the dry spell. And then the rains come to the desert and allow the desert to hydrate and to bloom. That is what the Ultra 30 does to the body, is it rides into the body and then replenishes the body with proteins, fats, the right amounts of carbohydrates, so that you are low glycemic, and that you're not creating this huge insulin spike, that you are creating a beautiful insulin reaction that is very healthy to the body. Minerals, trace minerals, probiotics, enzymes, all of these essential micro and macronutrients that can flood into the body, and the body just sucks it straight in. And then guard your diet after that, because all of that work that the body just went through, you don't want to do one step forward, two steps back in returning back to some bad old habits. The goal is to take two steps forward and maybe the occasional one step back. So listen to your body. You'll know how you feel. If you feel lightheaded, if you feel weak, then you've gone maybe a little bit beyond where your body's limitation is to fasting, and that's okay. Just write down the number that you got to based on the hour. For some of you that are brand new to Zalevo, just experiencing fasting for the first time, maybe you only make it to hour 21, and embrace that. Just celebrate that, because what you're doing is you've just now prepped your body to receive fasting even better the next time that you enter into that. How many days between fasting sessions? I would say 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
Feed and nourish with the good stuff, get those good nutrients in, and then you can transition straight up into another fast. So I would say no more than 3 times a month, but ideally twice is going to be exceptional in the body.
Oh, I love that. So many good perspectives there and takeaways. And I love the fact too that that process continues. It doesn't just stop when you like have your Ultra 30. I mean, it continues, especially the ketosis and the fat burning. So
That's right.
so many prolonged benefits, Kirsty. Awesome, awesome. Okay, hopefully Kathy's on. That answers your question. All right, so from Ann Diner here. Ann's a sweetheart. So, yeah, okay. All right, this is a great question. It's more specific. If someone, it segues into the last question, Kirsty. If someone is not ready, maybe for health reasons, or maybe cannot or not ready to do a type of fast right away, especially an autophagy fast, what is your suggestion for starting? And especially if budget's a factor, just a very practical question.
Yeah. Well, budget is do what you can. Do what you can. The mindset of all or nothing. People think if they can't come in with the ultimate collection that it's like, well, I can't do it. And it's the same thing. Like if someone eats 1 cookie, they eat 12 because they're like, well, I just blew it. Right. And it's really not about that. I think everything in moderation, and don't get caught up in the psychology of stuff. So let's say that if all you can do is afford 2 pouches of Ultra 30, you are in 1 year's time putting 1 shake into your body every single day. Imagine the what your body has now been built out of doing 1 shake a day than nothing at all. And it's the same thing with maybe Fortitude 85. Maybe you start with a shake every other day because you know you need the stress support. And so you buy the Fortitude 85. Think about where your body can be in 30 days from now, taking 4 capsules of Fortitude 85 every single day. You might move the needle slower, but you're moving the needle. So don't feel that it's all or nothing. Embrace where you're at, work towards seeing what you can do to increase your budget at some point in time so that you can open up other health benefits with other of the incredible master formulations that we offer. And then what was the other part of that? You said budget, and then the other was?
Yeah, the other is budget, and the other is for health reasons attached to.
Oh, yeah.
Some people have concerns around that. That's a great question, actually.
Yeah. Because if you're taking medications where you have to eat with your medicine. Well, then maybe taking burn mode every single night before bed is the ticket, because let's say if you eat at 7 o'clock at night, you take your medicine, and within 2 hours, that food has emptied out of your tummy. If your digestive system is normal, sometimes it can sit in there for prolonged periods of time if you don't have enough enzymatic activity. And if that is the case, if that is you, and you feel that your food is sitting in your stomach until you go to bed, 3 or 4 hours later, then you have to go buy enzymes. Enzymes are critical. You can get plant-based enzymes just like what we have in the Ultra 30 shakes at the health food store. I like, and there's a brand called Enzymatica, and there's Digest Basic and Digest Gold. So write that down, go to the health food store, have someone point it out for you. It's, 30 or 40 bucks, but you take a capsule with every single meal. And what that does is those enzymes then liquefy the food so that the food can get into the small intestine as it should, instead of just sitting there as a lump in your stomach and you have indigestion issues. So pay close attention to that, because if you've got that going on, you have a lot of additional putrefaction and toxicity that's being released through that stagnant food sitting in your stomach into your body. And it's harder on your body. It's harder on your liver. It's harder on your cells. So guard your digestion. But going back to those who cannot fast, do what you can and take the burn mode at night before bed on an empty stomach every night for the rest of your life. You're going to get subtle benefits that way. Does it access autophagy? No. It doesn't, but it does help the body when it comes to detoxification. It aids the liver in all of the beautiful detox processes that the liver has going on, along with cells in general. So
Yeah.
Do what you can. Just do what you can.
I love that. And Allison, I know you're in the chat aspect of this. This will be recorded so we can access it. We can access the recording. For the sake of time, I'm going to keep cruising, Allison, but feel free to review that. in the group chat as well. So the next part of Anne's question is, and more practical question, do we have any like charts or different suggestions for the healthy low calorie snack options, especially just what are healthy snack options, and do we have some resources? I know personally that we have a lot of resources in the Facebook group,
Yeah.
Kirsty, and other suggestions as well.
Yeah, we could, I would suggest that if they don't exist, because I wouldn't know if they exist or not. And if they don't, I know I created a snack list many, many years ago, and it was adopted. I think Jill Berth adopted it and then modified it a little bit. So she's a great resource for that. But let's say that if we want to make a company asset, so it's company wide, available maybe on your app, so that it's easy to send out, then we could certainly do that. But the rule of thumb with snacking is whole foods, not processed. Whole foods and not processed, and vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, high protein snacks, and things that are nutritious, that are void of artificial colors, artificial flavors, artificial sweeteners, those things. And a snack is basically your fist clenched and then half of your clenched fist. That is the rule of thumb for snacking.
Okay.
And not to go beyond that, because you obviously don't want to overload the body with too much in between your meals. But that's just a good rule of thumb for snacking. I would prefer no snacking, to be honest. If you're really wanting to know my opinion, I think that depending upon your protein requirements, some people have high protein requirements because they're athletes, or they have a really high activity and their goal is to put on lean muscle. Whereas for some people, they can easily do 2 shakes a day in a meal, and hit their protein quantity and load for the day. So if that is you, and higher quantities of protein in a day isn't an issue for you, that's not a part of your jam, then the longer that you can go between your shakes and your meals, the better. Because that, my friends, battles insulin resistance and keeps you away from succumbing to that type of metabolic issue. So the longer you can go, the better. And the rule of thumb is 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours between meals. You're going to get grumbles in the tummy. You're going to feel it, but just focus on your water intake, and then your digestive system is ready to take on your next meal when that time comes.
Okay, great questions. And again, I just said there are certain perspectives, and everybody, and thanks for bringing that to the table and being very transparent about that belief. And that's tied to many, many insights and reviews and science and anecdotal stories. So thank you, Kirsty. And part 3, this is probably and for those of you who submitted other questions, our apologies. We will do other Ask the Experts. We'll probably have time for one more. And Anne added a third part. If a doctor told someone, that's an interesting way to start the question. Okay, that their cardiovascular health, for example, their numbers are high, and they should take something for that more traditionally. Okay, I think she's referring to basically just what nutritionally speaking, and our formulations could support the body's ability to really support the cardiovascular, especially if somebody has specific cardiovascular challenges. So
are you talking like lipid profile, like when it comes to cardiovascular labs and lipids, cholesterols?
Yeah, I think she's referring more to maybe the condition that causes you to get red in the face, those kind of issues.
Oh, like high blood pressure. Okay. I know.
Yeah.
Listen to you. You're so sweet. You're trying to avoid the terms. And, but I will say that, it's okay to just speak it out and ask the question, in the sense that way I can help to answer the best of my ability. And I think, Robert, you said it best earlier, is that we're not here to treat, cure, or prevent any kind of disease or illness. But the matter of the fact is that there's a lot of people that when they start Zalevo, they have pre-existing issues and disease and conditions. And it's very important for you, if you're the one that's sharing the good word as a brand partner, to be aware of that so that you can give them the advice of, listen, you've got to stay in contact with your doctor. You've got to make sure that you are tracking your numbers and that you're communicating that with your healthcare professional, because a lot of the medications, especially with high blood pressure, Robert, this is such a great question, is that when someone gets healthy, whether they increase hydration and they figure out better rest patterns and sleeping, and maybe they start exercising, maybe they start cutting carbs, maybe they introduce Labo into their lifestyle, all of that stress management, that all impacts cardiovascular health. And if someone makes any of those changes, they're going to see the shift and change in their blood pressure, especially if it's really high. And if their blood pressure is high and they're medicating for that, think about it when it naturally starts to creep down because they're making better lifestyle choices, but yet they're still taking the medication at this level that it was 30 days ago.
Yeah.
And if you take too much medication, as your blood pressure is starting to drop, it will drop even further and can get dangerously low. And I'm telling you, people can pass out. So the rule of thumb is that if you are taking insulin, if you are taking blood pressure medications, especially with those two types of medications, you've got to stay in contact with your doctor. So the best advice I could give you is as you're starting on your health and wellness journey, that you do you're taking the cuff and you're doing your own blood pressure with your digital blood pressure cuff morning and night, and then journaling and tracking, because you're going to watch those shifts and changes one day to the next. And then when it comes time that you're 10 points down or you're 20 points down, you can call your doctor and be like, hey, I've implemented new healthy lifestyle habits. My blood pressure is naturally dropping lower. Do I need to change my medicine? And the doctor can say yes, because a lot of blood pressure meds, they cannot be cut in half. So it would require a brand new prescription, and that's okay too. So you just, hey, celebrate it and move into something that's different, and watch your body become the miracle. So that's the advice with blood pressure, is just blood pressure cuff, check it, stay in communication with your doc.
No, that's a great perspective. And thanks for being clear on that, because you're right. There's people that come in with pre-existing, and we need to know, we need to have some really healthy, compliant answers for them and guidelines. Thank you, Kirsty. So Kirsty, we have some, a number of other questions. We'll have even more by the time the next one comes around. Our time is up for this session. For those of you who submitted the questions, we just love them, so keep them coming. And Kirsty, are you okay if we can book a part 2 and part 3 coming up? So
oh yeah, anytime
we will do that. And I'm going to unmute the line here just real quick here, so we can there's a few of us on here live. I know on the Zoom, a number of people are on the Facebook page. So let's go ahead and unmute, and just, I'm going to count to 3, and you can say you love you or thank you, whatever you would like to Miss Amazing Kirsty Cody. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Unmute. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, we
Thank
love
you.
you, Kirsty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
You're the
you
best.
are so welcome. Yes,
right.
you are all loved right back. Thank you.
You're all
Thank
loved.
you.
We love you, Kirsty.
Bye-bye.
And we
Thank
always
you.
do force for good. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Force
for good.
Good.
Love and light. Thanks, Kirsty.
Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.
Bye, Kirsty.
Bye-bye.